This is such a super important lesson. What we're going to do today is learn about at, on, and in, and quizzes. Why is this important? Prepositions. Advanced, intermediate, and of course beginners make these same mistakes every day. They are so little mistakes, but this is proof that even we need to review. Review. And this lesson will be perfect for you, whether it's the first time or if you've heard this 10 times, because I know you are making this mistake. I know it. I have taught thousands of students, beginner and not beginner, okay? And they all make this mistake. So let's go. Okay, what should I put here? Every morning, blah, 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 I wake up, blah, 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 5:30. 5:30 a.m. What is it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is at. Okay, please speak out your answers quietly if you need to be quiet, but speaking is the best. Okay, next question. Okay, 2010, or more commonly 2010, I was only 20 years old. True story. I'm kind of old. Okay, what's our answer? Not on, not at, but in 2010. Okay, next one, very common mistake. My test is noon. What time is noon? Noon is 12 o'clock. Okay, 12 o'clock. So my test is at noon. Kadak, I don't know how to say it, but since is a good guess. However, we are going more simple today, okay? So our answers are at 5:30, in 2010, and at noon. Why? Let's find out. Today, we're going to talk specifically about prepositions of time with these words. So starting with at, we use at plus a specific point in time. Clock times, for example. Something to note, okay? In many languages, you have one word to say clock, right? You have a clock on the wall and a clock on your wrist. But in English, this is watch, right? And this is clock. Very important, common mistake. Okay, so clock times like 7 a.m., or you can just say 7 o'clock a.m., or 8:45 p.m. You can also say 7:45. 7:45. Very natural English. Notice how we've got some periods after these letters. A period, M period. That is one way to write it. Keep that in mind because there are more than one way. Okay. Precise hours now, very precise. It's not going to be a number, but it is a word that we have that means that number, like midnight. Midnight, remember, it is 12 a.m. Okay, 12 a.m. It's dark. Okay, midnight, the middle of the night. Noon is 12 p.m. Okay, that is only the middle of the day. Most of us in my culture, at least in Canada and British culture, noon is lunchtime. I know it's different for others, okay? Now, we also have holidays. Not a specific day, but the period, okay? So, for example, Christmas. Christmas is a really popular season in Canada, America, and lots of Christian cultures, right? Or at least countries founded on Christian cultures, where it's honestly a month-long period where we are super, super happy. A common thing that starting December 1st, all you will hear on the radio, walking through the streets or in your car, is Christmas music. After Christmas, that's done. But that is a long and happy season. Also, we have Easter. Okay, Easter is, we consider that a whole weekend, some a week, though they would say Holy Week. In the spring, where it celebrates either Jesus' death and resurrection, or if you don't believe in that, you celebrate basically spring and new life, right? With Easter bunnies and eggs. And the next is specifically British. So this is super important because British use at the weekend. If you said this in America or Canada, we would say, what? Your English is really bad, right? In North American English, we say on the weekend, but not British English. They say at the weekend. So keep this in mind. Do you want British English or North American English? You have to choose. Okay? Thank you, correct. You're absolutely right. At night is in the middle of 24 hours. 12 a.m. is in the morning. That's right. Okay, now let's look at some examples. Okay? The soldiers usually go to sleep at, how do we say this? This is, in military speaking, you would put 2,200 hours. Kind of weird, but yes, 2,200 hours. So not 2,200. And this brings me to a very important point about English. You will hear people counting, right? And 100, 200, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, but then 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, and so on. 2,200, 2,300, 4,300. And that is how we commonly talk, right? Wow, he's so rich. He makes $4,300 a month. Okay, I guess that's not super rich, but yes, this is a very common way of counting that you need to know. So the soldiers usually go to sleep at 2,200 hours. If you are being informal and not using military speaking, then you will say that the soldiers usually go to sleep at 10 p.m. All right? Or because it's obvious sleeping, at 10. You do not have to say o'clock. Okay. Next here, we met up at McDonald's for a coffee and some healthy food at lunchtime. Notice this right here, okay? This is common body language that we use when speaking to say, to use sarcasm, like not really true. Like, yeah, McDonald's has healthy food, okay? Not exactly your first place to go for healthy food. All right. So, another common name that we might say for McDonald's is McD's, Mickey D's. Lots of weird options, but yeah, we met up at McD's to get coffee and healthy food. Met up. Not we met, because that means that it's our first time. Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you too. I'm Megan. How about you? We only use meet like that if it's our first time seeing someone, right? If I see you again, I don't say I meet you, right? No, I see you, right? Meet up is different. Meet up is go to the same place, right? So we met up at McDonald's. Ooh, there's at 2 times. We will look at that in future classes. At as a preposition of place. Oof, even more difficult. Okay, so at lunchtime, specific time of the day. Okay. Next, shops are typically closed at Easter. Okay, so that's in Canada at least. We have Good Friday, right? And Easter Monday. Those 2 days are complete holidays for us, okay? So no working at all. It's great. Now, let's continue, okay? On plus calendar days or dates. So we're getting more, we're zooming out a bit, not hours, but days, okay? So easy, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Be careful, I hear Thursday and Tuesday always confused, okay? But keep those in mind. Next, we have dates. So a date is a specific day of the week, right? With a month and a number, okay? September 3rd. In North American English, when we read this, we won't say September 3. No, we will say September 3rd, because for days on the calendar, we use ordinal numbers, right? First, second, third, okay? That's very important. You might also use the word date to say a time when you go for a love relationship night, like I go for date nights with my husband every week at a different restaurant, or something just like that, okay? Now let's move on. Next we have specific days, okay, or occasions. They might not have the name of a month, but they have another name. Of course, birthday, that is a specific day. New Year's Day, also a specific day of the year. Okay, then this one is important. On a plus day plus a part of the day. Monday afternoon. Different cultures call the afternoon, translate afternoon as a little bit differently than Canadian cultures or North American. Basically, people that look like me, okay? So if you are in North America, you will see that afternoon is from 12 o'clock to like 5-ish, right? And when the sun starts, ish means more or less 5-ish. When the sun starts to go down, right, we call that evening. So yeah, around 5 to maybe 8. after 8 o'clock, it's night, right? Although usually people will say good night just before sleeping. Okay, so that's really important to keep in mind that those are our general rules for times when we use afternoon, evening, and night. All right. Continuing on, sentence examples. We went to a concert on Saturday night. Okay, Saturday night would be around 7 p.m. more or less, okay, or later than that. Okay, and next, he was born on Monday, September 16th, 1996. Notice how we wrote this, okay? Mon is the short way to write Monday. You have to put a period after it if you do that. Sept plus a period is the short way to write September. And then 16th. Notice I said 16th and not 16. And it's very important that you put a comma after each of these. So day, comma, month, date, month with the number, comma, then year. Okay? And next one is the family supper is on Christmas Day at 6 p.m. So Christmas Day is December 25th. Okay? December 25th at 6 p.m. So specific calendar day. Notice we have two here. At with the specific clock time, on plus the occasion, the holiday, specific day. All right. Quiz time. Okay. The movie at the cinema starts 9 p.m. Saturday night. Okay, this question. So is it at, on, or on at, or on, or at? Okay. I'm going to give you a few seconds to try and figure out one. We have some answers in the chat. All right, remember there's two blanks. So start at, on, at. Write both your answers in the way it should be. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. At with on. Why? Okay, you need to tell me why. If you don't know why, or if you have a guess, pause the video if you're not watching this live and tell me, it is at 9 o'clock because, or on Saturday night because. You need to know this, and I want you to be speaking it. So it's not just in your listening and grammar, vocabulary side of your brain, but also in this other side of your brain, okay? I should mention, if you want extra practice with this, right down below in the description is something that you can download to help you and review everything I will teach you today with new examples and new quizzes. Okay, let's talk about why. Because we put at with a specific watch or clock time, okay, and we put on with a day or part of the day. Okay, good. Next question. All right, the bus leaves July 5th noon. At, on at. Notice how this time I wrote it with a TH. It's more informal to write it the way that we say it, but it's not wrong if you write it in a more formal setting. Okay, so remember there's two different answers, on or at or on. There's always two blanks here. Okay, so I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The bus leaves on July 5th at noon. Okay, on July 5th at noon. Why? Oh, why? Why? You need to know this so that you can check yourself when you're speaking. Remember, I want you speaking the answer. Speaking is the most common problem here because we hear your mistake right away. Okay, so let's talk about the reason here. It's this. We use on plus a date, right? A month plus number. And we use at with a specific time. It might not be a number, but it's a word that represents a number, like noon, which is 12 p.m., middle of the day, afternoon, lunchtime. Okay, now, in some sentences, there's a specific order that you need, but not with at and on. Okay, you could also say the bus leaves at noon on July 5th. Also good. So that's nice. Let's continue. She always calls me or midnight, New Year's Eve. Okay? She always calls me midnight, New Year's Eve. Okay. What can it be? What should it be? All right. 5, 4, 3. Remember to speak the sentence out loud. 2, 1. Here we go. She always calls me at, that's right, at midnight on New Year's Eve. Good job in the chat here, okay? Super important. So why? You need to know why. I don't want you guessing. This is super important, okay? So why is it at midnight and on New Year's Eve? Because at is with a specific hour of the day. Midnight, as we said, it's 12 p.m. in the middle of the night. Sorry, 12 a.m. 100 hours. Now, what is Eve? Eve is short for evening, okay? So, New Year's Eve. All right. We use on there because it's a specific occasion, an event. All right. Let's do in. We're almost here, okay? Be ready to note and memorize the differences. I want you doing lots of speaking so you learn better. Okay, in is used with larger periods of time. Okay, so we're zooming out even more. At, on, in. Okay, not just one specific time. So parts of the day. All right, so morning. Generally, technically, morning is 12 a.m. midnight all the way to 11:59 a.m. Right, but usually we aren't awake to be talking about the middle of the night, which is morning. Okay, afternoon. Remember, that is around 12 o'clock to 4 or 5-ish before the sun goes down. Okay, next part, months. Months. In February, in August. Be careful with the pronunciation. It's not February. That R is silent. February. August. August. Okay, so there are many days in February and August. So it's in there somewhere. Also, seasons. This is important. We have autumn. All right, it's not autumn with the N. The N is silent there. So autumn, which is also called fall, right? Which is the season that we are getting into now, September now. And then the season after that is winter, not winter, winter. Okay, let's continue. We also have in with years or periods of time. So let's see our first year here. How do you say it? Okay, I want you to speak it out loud and see how your answer compares to mine. Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds to just say it. Okay, the way a natural native speaker would say it would be 1990. 1990. We say years with the first 2 numbers, 19, and the second 2 numbers, 90. We do not say 1990. No, okay? And then the second part here, the 1300s. Yes, that's a word. Go back in this class and you will see it, okay? The 1300s means anything that happened from the year 1300 to 1399 or 1399, right? During that century, that 100 years. Okay. Next, durations of time. 10 minutes, 2 weeks, right? See you in 10 minutes. Okay. See you in 2 weeks. I will miss you. Okay. So let's look at this example here. I hope to retire in the near future. Interesting. So near future just means at some time in the future, not a specific time. You don't know when. Now, interesting that we're using the present tense to talk about a future event, right? Retiring in the future. However, we have to think that hope is a present action. It's how I feel right now, currently, right? So that's why that's present. Okay. Next sentence here, right? This city was built in the 18th century. All right, that's the 18th century is the 1700s. Okay, somewhere in that time. Okay, the 18th century, the 1700s. All right, and school starts in September. So interesting because this is always going to be a present simple sentence, even if it's the future, right? You might say in August, yeah, school starts in September. So when we are talking about timetables, fixed schedules, right? Like bus times, train times, plane times, school class times, this class time, we use the present simple. So school starts in September. This class is on Thursday every week at 2 o'clock. Okay, so that's important. next, let's do a quick comparison before we quiz. So at, on, and in, both with time and location, they are all about how close we are, how specific we are to what comes after it. So zoom, all right. At is for the most zoomed in parts, the exact points in time, like a specific hour, right? And then we zoom out a little bit, and you get onto dates, days or dates, okay? And we zoom out even more, and you just have general periods of time. One thing that's important to say is that we say in the morning, in the afternoon. Notice my pronunciation with the and before vowels, the afternoon, in the evening, but we say at night, okay? I don't really know of any specific reason for this, but you could say that night is a longer time period, right? I don't know, that doesn't really make sense still. All right, it's kind of opposite, but it is what it is. That's English. All right. We are going to do some more quizzes and then look at important exceptions that I hear these mistakes with all the time. So I need to fix them. Let me help you. First of all, what do we put in these blanks? Okay? Do we put at, on, or in? There's going to be two different answers in one sentence. So it will be at, in, at, on at, on, in, on, in, at. All of the options, okay? You choose. And I'll give you 5, 4. Type your answers in the chat. Let's see how this goes. All right. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Okay, at sunrise. Many flowers bloom. That means open up, right? At sunrise. Sunrise is when the sun comes up. So could be around 5 and 6 a.m. Okay. Many flowers bloom at sunrise in spring. Why at and in here? Here it is. At is your precise hour of the day, right? So a precise hour sunrise, there's a time for that. It's different in every place, but there is a specific minute that they put on the weather app for that time, right? And next we have in plus seasons. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Those are, and autumn, okay? All the seasons, okay? Next question here, and while you're studying this question, something in the chat is written, I'm on the bus, I'm going in the basement, and I'm going at home. So these sentences, I'm on the bus is good. I'm going to the basement or into the basement if you're walking down the stairs. I'm going home. Right? I am at home or I'm going home. Okay, but that is a different topic. Let's look at this. Remember to read these sentences out loud. First, before I give you answers, how do you pronounce this word? And what's the original word? This is past tense. So say your guess out loud. Okay, the answer is bought. English spelling is crazy, and I noticed in the chat there's actually a lot of spelling mistakes. So be careful, go through your words and check the spelling mistakes, okay? Also, yes, so he bought his first car a rainy day, October. What's the answer here? Okay, 5, 4, type your answers. 2 and 1. We have on a rainy day in October. Bought comes from buy, okay? So why? Because we use on with a day of the week, right? On a day, this is a rainy day. And also we use in with months. October, November, December. All right, next one. Okay, the bell rings noon, the school year. Interesting. Okay, the bell rings in our, well, at least as far as I know, in North American schools, sometimes when it's time to start class, there's a big bell that rings when class finishes and you can go outside. There's a big bell that rings, and every time it's going in or going to class, going out, whatever it is, there's a bell that rings. Okay. So our answers: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The bell rings at noon in the school year, not on the school year. Okay. So in the school year, this just means when there is school, right? There's no school in the summer, right? So that's not part of the school year, but so the bell is not ringing in the summer, okay? Only when there's school. Why? Remember, at is a precise hour. Noon again is 12 p.m. In is for general year. There's no specific number written here, but the word is used. School is an adjective describing, okay? Next here, right, we had a video call, 10:15, my birthday. Okay, you can say 10:15 or quarter after 10. I'll write that in the chat, quarter after 10. Okay, 10:15. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We had a video call at 10:15 on my birthday. Why are those the answers? You tell me, please. Okay? You tell me, please. It is because we have a precise clock time with at and a specific occasion. Your birthday, it's a day. All right, we use on with days. Good. Remember to review all this. Download the document below for more quizzes, which you can do. And of course, you can contact me at any time. Next, we got married December 16th, 2019. Okay, 20. Notice I don't say 20. You can. That's okay. Right? But you don't have to. However, native speakers, we do say 20 without the T sound. That is because very commonly in English, if there is an NT, the T is silent. Okay, at the end of a word. 20. Okay. So our answers, right? They are, we got married on December 16th in 2019. This is the truth about my husband and I. So we're almost at 6 years now, okay? Why? Because we use on with a month and in with a year, okay? If you're not watching this live, always make sure to pause and guess what the answer, what the reason why is. That is what you are learning today. Also, always be speaking, right? Repeat the sentence. Say what you are reading on the screen. That's super important. Whenever you are studying, also be speaking, okay? Even if your pronunciation is not 100% correct, the point is to bring all these words you are learning into that speaking part of your brain, okay? Very important. It's science. Okay, next question. I usually, okay, usually, be careful with the pronunciation. I usually, very common pronunciation mistake. Exercise. I usually exercise 7 the evening. Okay, you could say 7 o'clock or just 7. Notice that I said the instead of the. You can say the, but when we have a word that starts with a vowel, the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, okay? A, E, I, O, U. When we have the before it, we usually say the native speakers, naturally speaking, and we add a little Y sound to the next word. So this becomes the evening, okay? Let's get your answers here. Here we have it. I usually exercise at 7 in the evening. All right. Why? Why? Okay. Speak. Tell me why. So the answer is at plus a clock time, specific number, and in with a part of the day. Unless we're talking about night, which is at night. Okay. Now, next part here, a very specific. Okay, I see in the chat we had some correct words, so awesome, correct sentence, very nice. Here, we visited Rome, Italy. Okay, notice the pronunciation. We don't say Italy or Italy. We say Italy. This I sound does not exist in most languages. Right? So be careful with that one. Rome, Italy. April 10th, we would say. 10th in... Fail! I just gave you the answer. Okay, in 2015. So our answer here, all right? We visited Rome on April 10th in 2015. Why? Because we have on plus a date, in plus the year. Now, we could say we visited Rome, Italy, on April 10th, comma, 2015. That's good too. Alrighty. Now, our last part here, super important. We always need these prepositions except with some mistakes, okay? Sorry, except with some exceptions, some certain words. If you use last, for example, she moved to a new city last year. Last means time before. So right now it's the year 2026. It's 2025. I'm old. Last year was 2024, right, everybody? Okay, so we don't say in last year, no, just last year, okay? Next preposition, or next word we don't use a preposition with is next. This is the opposite of last. It's in the future. I'm traveling to Europe next summer. Okay, not in next summer. So also this is important. I'm traveling, right? This is a future plan. So why did we put it in present progressive? Okay, when we have a fixed plan, like the arrangement is fixed, you've got the plane tickets, you've got the hotel, everything's decided, then you can use the present progressive. Like, I'm traveling to Madrid next week. Okay, the plan is set, there's no doubt. Now, you could say, I'm going to travel to Europe next summer. If it's your intention, it's your plan, but there's nothing really done yet. There's no hotel, no real plan, just it's more of a plan in your head, okay? So, next part, this. Ugh. We have a psychology, pronunciation, psychology, spelling too, exam this Friday. When we use this before a day, right, or a certain time, like this Friday, this weekend, this year, that means it's the one that's closest. So this Friday, today is Thursday. So this Friday means tomorrow, the 5th of September, okay? This week this is the first week of September. So this week, this year, 2025, okay? You cannot say on this Friday. You could say on Friday. That's also good, but not the two together. And lastly, every. Most native speakers will say this word as every, not every. But both pronunciations are okay. All right, every. He goes jogging almost every night. Okay, every is an adverb of frequency, right? When you do something more regularly, repetitively. So with adverbs of frequency, like sometimes, never, usually, we always use the present simple tense. He goes. To go jogging. Jogging is like slow running. It's not, it's for exercise, nothing else. Every night. So not at every night, just every night. Okay. And that is the end of this lesson. If you made it here, you are amazing. I'm so proud of you because you are doing exactly what you need to do to improve your English, okay? So very good job. Don't forget, you can download what is in the description below for more details about this. And I am going to finish this class. However, I will fix some things in the chat, fix some sentences while this class is on the finished slide, okay? So the people who are still in the chat, keep looking at the chat and I'll fix these things for you, okay? See you. Have a great week. See you next week. All right.